it's Janet and welcome to my channel. This is where you can be inspired, learn new techniques, and pick up some new tips and tricks. Get started by subscribing and clicking on the bell. So today I'm going to show you how to make the cute little treat box from start to finish, and we'll begin by using Design Space to bring in 3 separate and different files from different collections to make this cute little project. This box measures 4 3/4 high by 2 3/4 wide and is perfect for a treat or a small gift. If you want to know all the dimensions and all of the 3 files and how to find them with their design number, you can go to my blog. I'll have that link in my video description box. Alright, let's get started. So here I am on the main canvas screen, and I'm going to start by pulling in the 3 images that I need for my box. And so I'll start with the box itself. This one comes from Tags, Bags, Boxes, and More 2. So we've got that in there. The next thing I'm going to put in is the mat for the decorative cutout that I'm going to use. This one comes from Elegant Edges. And obviously I'm not going to have it look like that. There won't be a bird on it, but I like the shape, and I'll show you how I'm going to manipulate that to meet my design needs. The third shape I'm going to pull in is the sign with the crow on it. This one's a really long number compared to the others. This comes from a collection called Creepy Critters. Alright, so there they all are. To start with, I need to make my box the right size. This is teeny tiny at 4.8 by 3.1. It would make a box, I guess, probably the size of a dice, which is not going to work. I want to make this on one sheet of 12 by 12 paper, so the largest I can do that on a 12 by 12 mat in Design Space is 11.5 inches. If I would make it more than this, it would not fit on a 12 by 12 mat. So that's the maximum dimension. Next, I'm going to work on this mat. Now you can see over here on the right that we have 3 different layers to this cut. I'm going to turn on the eyeballs so I can see that black mat back there. And then I'm going to hit this ungroup button, and that will allow me to pull these apart. I do not want this one. I do want this one and this one, however. And I need to, again, put this back together and center it so that I can then manipulate both shapes to fit my box. So I'm going to draw a boundary box over those 2. I'm going to go up to my Align options and hit the center. And that's going to put it perfectly in place, which is wonderful. Alright, next I will go over here again. You see we have the 2 layers chosen, and I'm going to hit group. So now it's time to bring this back up, and I'm going to try to figure out, just by eyeballing it, how big this label is going to be, or this background. And I think that's about right. So we can get rid of this box then out of our way for the moment. Now this is what I'm going to put on my label, but I want to point out a couple things to you. First of all, this is 2 cuts. It's not one image, it's 2 together. We have just the sign, and we have just the bird. And if we put the eyeball on for both, we've got 1 image, and it is grouped together to be 1 image. Now what this means is you cannot use this whole entire image to use the slice function. You can only use one part of it at a time, because Design Space has a limit of using or being able to slice only 2 cut designs at once. So going back to here, I've got to ungroup this once again over here. I have the ungroup button, and that's going to allow me to work with this. Now I'm going to get a closer look at this for you guys. Now I need to adjust this and it will go behind, so I need to right click and say send to front so that it goes on top of my mat here. And I'm going to enlarge that, again eyeballing it to see, you know, what looks good. Yeah, that's about right, I think. Now you would think you could just put a boundary box between these two and hit slice, but it doesn't work that way, again because we actually have 3 designs here, not 2. So to fix this, I have to make a copy of this because I'm sort of going to destroy both of them. And I guess the easiest thing to do is just go up here and hit duplicate. And now they're both identical, same size, it's all good. Move this one back again to where you think you might like it to be. And now we have to go up here, and you see we're manipulating this set, and I do not want to cut one of these, so for now I'm going to cut off or take off the bird. Now when I put a boundary box on it, see here, now we can slice. So I'm going to hit slice and take that away and take that away, and now we have done a great job of slicing that design into this front mat. Now we're going to do the same thing with just the bird design, so I'm going to shut off the sign so I have only the bird. I'm going to have to also right click and send to front on this and bring it in and set it approximately where I would like that to be. Now I do the boundary box again, go down to slice and take away those sections, and I have this perfectly ready to cut now. Now move that away because those little tips of his toes also was part of that slice, so you need to get rid of that just to keep things clean. And at this point you are ready to cut everything, except that we want to center this on here just to make sure it's still the right size and nothing got messed up, because the worst thing would be to cut this and go, oh darn, it doesn't fit this. So just simply put a boundary box on there, go to align, hit center, and yes, confirm that it is right, and I would just hit group up here just to make sure. Now I can bring back my box, confirm one more time that it fits nicely there. It does, and that's it. We're ready to cut it. So at this point I'll hit make it, and it's going to be 3 different mats. And of course with the box you'll want to use the scoring tool in there, and it will tell you to put that in. And that's it. Well, I'm going to go ahead and cut this, and I'll be back with the pieces and show you how to put it together. Alright guys, this is the cut. And this is that bird and the Happy Halloween sign. I just wanted to point out that I used this card stack, Die Cuts with a View, the glitter card stock matte stack. It's fairly old, but I think that it's still sold if you go out there and look for it. Lots of great colors in that. But it is a very thick cardstock, and it makes it a bit challenging for the Cricut to cut it. Again, I have an Explorer Air 2. I can't speak for the maker. Maybe the maker has less trouble with it. But for one thing, you want to make sure to set your custom material. You know, don't cut it as regular cardstock. Set it to custom, and then choose glitter cardstock, because it's going to cut it twice then, and it will go, I think, a little bit slower as well to handle that thick glitter cardstock finish. So this sign isn't just a simple cutout. There are a few things we have to save from this cutout in order to make it look right. And here, by the way, is the background I'm going to put the cutout on. And so let's take a look at this. I'm going to stick a little piece of white cardstock behind here so you can see a little better, hopefully. I'm going to start first of all by taking away the excess glittered cardstock. And this is a brand new mat, which is another tip. Make sure you're using a brand new mat or one that's not been used very much when you're working with something that's got this fine of a detail and is thick on top of that, because if the little pieces don't stick where they're supposed to, it will not be able to cut them decently. And you might have trouble with the cardstock moving around on you. So I'm going to try to get most of this out of here in one piece since it is so well stuck down, which will help also when trying to save certain pieces of this. This would also work really well if you were going to cut it on vinyl and put it on a plain cardstock. You could use a glitter vinyl. I find that with the Cricut, the glitter, or any vinyl really, not just glitter, will cut really well even on the small stuff. Sometimes on cards, if I can't get it to cut right, using a cardstock, I'll use vinyl and that will actually work. So I was able to get a lot of this out in one pass. I've got this piece and I've got this piece though, and it looks like the Y came out, and that's fine. Alright, let me move this out of here. I wanted to keep it kind of together so that I could show you exactly what I mean. So first of all, I'm going to take out this piece, which is the frame and all of that. It's just sticking a little bit. And that is going to go on here. So let's do that first. I've got some glitter glue, but you could use any adhesive glue. This is just my go-to. I really like the glitter glue. It dries clear and it sticks really well. Doesn't warp unless you really put it on too heavy, but by and large it doesn't warp any paper. Okay, so I'm going to set that down, get that where I want it to be approximately. So that alone is looking pretty sharp. Now I've got some pieces that are going to fit in here to make that scroll work from the sign look right. So that's one of the pieces. And then here's the second piece that I'm going to need. I'm going to get my tweezers, which I highly recommend. I'm going to sit something like this. Hard to manipulate until you get a little bit more together here. Alright, so now that's basically close to where it's going to go. But what I need to do is align this little piece in here first. Gosh, usually when I use my tweezers I don't have any trouble picking up. But for some reason right now I am. Anyway, we want to set that down, and give it that room so you can see the top of the sign and then the main part of the sign as well. Okay, and now this piece is going to go approximately like so. If you don't get it exactly in the right place, it's no big deal. Close will work because the brain will do the rest of the work to figure out where it should be. It's funny how the brain works, but it is how it seems to operate. The brain tries to put things in a logical order for you. Let's see, so now this one, such a teeny piece, but is important for the overall look. And that is going to go in here. I'm going to form that piece of scroll work there. Oop. I'll move it over a little bit. And this is where the glitter glue comes in handy too, because there was definitely some seepage there. I'm just picking up the excess with my fingertips and it works pretty good. And it's not going to show when it dries. Okay, so far so good. Now I've got this pretty complicated and tiny Happy Halloween. So let's see how that turned out. There's my tiny little bat. And let's take the P out. And the good news is the words here are cut so that you don't need to keep the interior pieces. Which is one reason why, even though I had to mess around with this, I picked it, because at least you don't have to be putting in the little dots for the A's and the O's and all that stuff. So I find a tweezer can be used for this kind of thing too. You could also use a pick like you would have for a normal complex die cut. I can show that to you. This is a tool-in-one from Spellbinders, and it can be used to poke out these little pieces, or if you had a little needle, you could use like a darning needle. Save yourself a little bit of cash. It would do the same thing. So that's going to fit right into that little slot, and it looks very good. Alright, so let's finish this off by gluing it in place. And again, I'll have these cuts, the numbers for them, in my video description, so you can just simply type those in if you want to recreate this as well. Let's just follow along with my measurements, and you'll be good to go if you would like to make one of these treat boxes yourself. So that's going to go onto the box. This is the right side of the box. Now this is a two-sided paper. Let me get the paper stack for you. Here's the paper stack. It's called Dark Fairy Tale, again by Die Cuts with a View. This I just picked up at Tuesday morning, so it's an older pack for sure, but it is two-sided, which is nice. And it's got some nice, good old Halloween or fairy tale. I mean, a dark fairy tale could be used if you were going for that theme. I mean, look at the stained glass windows here. Definitely dark fairy tale. Sleeping Beauty or something like that could definitely fit in with this. But the roses again, also pretty. Okay, so we're going to fold this up now, and I'm going to use my bone folder here. And the Cricut did the scoring for me, so that's great. I'm going to let the paper just, you know, these score lines are not like really hard score lines, so you do have to kind of tease it to make the score line fold. If you could see the reflection there of the score line, it's not real easy to see, but it is there, and if you fold it, it is going to start folding in the right place for you. Like I say, it's just enough for the paper to kind of be trained enough to know where that fold should go. But at the same time, you don't see any cut marks or deep indentations from a scoring tool, which I think is all great. I do like the scoring that is done with the Cricut Explore Air. I do not know with the Maker if it's a lot harder of a score and how that looks when you score it. I assume it's nice as well. I don't know though. If any of you have the Maker, you know, comment and let us know. Let's see, I've got a line right here yet to go. Trying to make sure I get all those lines. Looks like I do. The first thing we're going to do though is glue this together. I'm not going to mess with trying to get the bottom quite yet. So the tab goes underneath the top of this. Let's get my glitter glue out again. Oh yeah, I was going to say, and then I kind of got sidetracked, was that the interior of this is pink, which is really kind of strange for Halloween paper in my view. But again, I guess if you were going for the dark fairy tale kind of theme, then that could work. I could understand maybe the pink. Okay, to fold this box, there are 4 tabs, and the easiest way that I find is you You fold down the one with the biggest piece first, and then you're going to insert these. Now this little tab goes behind there, and then the same thing on this side, which gets a little bit harder to do once you get the first one down. And then this last piece just kind of slips in behind there, and then you've got a good solid bottom, if you could see that from inside. So, you know, it's going to be pretty good there. Alright, so let's close this up again for a second. Put that one on this side, and again, to close this you would match those pieces together and fold it in, and we've got the box. Okay. So now this would go on here. But before I do that, I want to add a bow and some ribbon. So again, I've got some inexpensive ribbon from Dollar Tree. Obviously, if it's from Dollar Tree, it's $1. This is Floral Garden, but I like this neon green color. I'm going to cut off a hunk of that. Take this off. And I'm going to tie it on this side with it open. Now I cut this a little long, really, but I just wanted to make sure that I had plenty to work with. Normally I probably wouldn't use this much, but I wanted to make it easier when I'm showing you guys and not so putsy. So the more you have, the easier it is to actually pull the ribbon in place, because you don't have to worry about it being short or anything like that. So there we go. Now I'm going to cut this with pointed ends. So the way you do that is you fold over your end, your tail here, and cut from the outside in so that your points are on the outside. So I'm going to do that again here. And then I've got a sweet ribbon. I've got some crinkled paper that I'm going to put in my box just to make it pretty. And when I put my candy in there, it'll have more substance and it'll be prettier when they open it. Now it's time to close up my box. So once again, the way to do this is hold your two handles together, hold those tabs together, and then insert them into the hole, and you've got a cute little box. I'm going to put some double-sided foam tape on this, and I'm going to use my trusty foam tape from, again, the Dollar Tree. This is a great foam tape. You can find this in the Automotive section if you're having any trouble finding it. You'd think it would be in crafts, but it is not. It's in the Automotive. And you get a lot of it for $1, and it sticks really great. Okay, so we've got it all on here. I'm going to slip this on in the center. And voila, we've got a pretty box for treats. Alright, well that's my quick and easy project for today, using your Cricut machine and designs already available through Cricut Design Space. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you being here. I'll be back soon, but until then, keep crafting. Bye.